This is Dr. Ike, the Executive Director of our Westlake Charter School.
I'm Jessica Gallenbohr, your K-8 principal.
And I'm Lila McIver, your principal at Westlake Charter High School.
And I'm Felix Flores, your WAVE president.
And we are your Westlake Charter School podcast team where we once a month get together and jam on all the topics that you're typically reading about in the Westlake Weekly. We have celebrations, what's going good at the school. We have shout outs to our core value of the month. Let's rock some global perspective today. We're going to throw it out there for a celebration of celebrating 20 years of joyful learning. And then we're going to come back and talk big upcoming events. I'm sure we'll talk some international festival just around the corner. And then we'll round out the show with ways to get involved with WAVE. And that's why, thank goodness, we have our WAVE president with us today. Hey, team, what are you celebrating out there? What do you got that's good? I'm looking for a celebration. Jess, I see you, Gallenbohr. What are you like leaning in? Pick me. What do you got, Gallenbohr? What are you celebrating, man?
I am celebrating in middle school this week. We had a guest speaker come in who is a native Natomas youth who has recently written and developed his own novel and came in to speak to the kids about the importance of writing and how it's carried him through a difficult time in his life as a coping mechanism, and then made a hip hop album with it. And the kids are just so excited. The middle school teachers are so excited. And to just have somebody from the community come in and talk to our students about the importance of literature and writing and kind of that trajectory of growth it was just a really cool performance.
Yeah. The novel is cool. The title of the novel is Heroic.
Heroic, yes.
Yeah, Heroic. Yeah. I'm a fan, man. He and I talked today, and I got a chance to check out his novel. And I'm like, oh, we got to get that in the library for sure. Yeah, great shout out. He's an Intercom graduate from the class of 2009, total local Natomian, and he's got a couple of little cousins who are on our K-8 campus. And when he agreed to come speak here, he didn't even know his cousins. He was like, "Oh, that's where my cousins go to." So it really
awesome
great
surprise. Yeah,
I love that. Who else has got a celebration? What do you guys got?
I'll jump in to celebrate. I am celebrating our front office crew here at the high school. If you know them, you love them. We're talking Joby Real, Lizzie Edmondson, and Talia Mendez. They are just, if you are a family member coming in and you need help, this front office has got you. If you are a student and you are needing a connection, you are needing something, they are the go-to. If you are a staff member, they are just so important to this school and our school community. And I just appreciate them so much and everything that they do, which is so many different things.
Yeah, honestly, so many different things you wouldn't even imagine. I walked in today and Jovi at the high school was helping a person who had missed a shuttle bus to a medical provider that they needed to get to. Not a student, not a parent, just a person who was walking by and was supposed to have gotten this. And they knocked on the door, and she was like, "Let me help you." And she called the transportation service provider and got this community member to their doctor's appointment. I was like, that was just not in the job description, man. It was so great. But Jovi did it. She says, everyone on that team's got such heart. Felix, got a celebration you want to throw down, man?
Yeah, I don't know if you guys play this family game, but we have this game that I was a winner of this morning called What's That Smell in My Car? And I found out there's strawberries and bananas all over the bottom seat, and it was great. I was glad to be the winner. But seriously, this will be put out in March, but Coffee Talk this morning, we had close to 30 folks that showed up from almost every single grade level, which is pretty awesome. And a lot of new faces that were in there. And it was great to hear their ideas and feedback around everything that we're doing. I thought it was a good vibe today. It was a good show of force with the parents coming through, particularly to win donuts for their kids.
Yeah. The donut coffee talk was a hit, man. I love it. Good job. Way to bring in the families motivated by their children who wanted to win donut parties. Good job. Yeah, I'll celebrate. the inside outside of Westlake Charter School. Inside the classroom is such magic. I was walking through classrooms today. There's so much magic happening inside the classroom. The second grades working on their thematic units, so that they could do the wax museum, do the people who make a difference unit. But like simultaneously, these kids are going outside the classroom and going to the B Street Theater today to watch a theatrical production. Our fourth grade's got the big Motherlode Gold Rush outdoor experience coming up. The high school goes on the college visits. Eighth grade goes overnight in Santa Cruz. Sierra Outdoor Schools is coming up for sixth grade. But not just like indoor, outdoor, but also like extra curricular, right? Our boys basketball team, for the first time in school history, not only made it to playoffs, but went to the second round of playoffs and just played phenomenally during February break. Our sports programs are thriving at the high school. What was the program yesterday? It was the NASA. It was a partnership with NASA.
Oh my gosh, the NASA Hunch.
I was there. Will you describe what that is, MacGyver?
Oh my gosh. Yes, I would love to. Oh my gosh, it's this project-based learning competition. They have all these different strands, and we were competing yesterday in the culinary competition. And so a group of our students, about 10 of them, have been working on this recipe, all these constraints about salt content and weight and shelf life, so they can develop this dish that could be potentially sent to the International Space Center. Yeah. It's crazy. It is so great. But
if their competition recipe wins, then it gets sent on to the next level, I think in Houston. And if it wins in Houston, it actually becomes a recipe that's a part of the menu on the space station for the astronauts. Last year, they almost made it to finals with, I can't remember what project they did. It was something super cool, but like
the egg bites.
The egg bites, that's what it was. Just, hey, inside the classroom to outside the classroom, apparently to outer space, the way our students engage in joyful learning across all platforms, that's my celebration. I love Westlake Charter School and the way we do what we do. Let's pivot, you guys, from there to like the core value of the month. I know we're celebrating 20 years of joyful learning, but this month we are definitively talking about a core value in particular, and that core value is global perspective. Just like we do with every core value of the month, we talk about how do I demonstrate global perspective through positive decision making, through self-awareness, and through social awareness. And so, do you guys have any like things you can point to for the listeners or the watchers? Hey, what does global perspective look like specifically here at Westlake Charter School through the curriculum, through the extracurriculars, through the communications and collaborations? What do you got out there? Who's got one they want to share? What's your story when you tell your friends, oh man, this is how we rock global perspective at Westlake Charter School? What do you got?
I can kick it off.
I see you both go for it. Felix, what do you got, man?
I think speaking of 20 years of celebration, we have a 20-year tradition of having International Festival here at Westlake Charter. It's a chance for our families and community to kind of come together and just really appreciate each other's diversity, but also get a chance to kind of tell, their story and insight to kind of how their culture is. And in a lot of different ways. I think some folks immediately think about food, which is great, I think, for a lot of us. But it's just they find these creative ways to be able to talk about their culture. And it's not just, a showcase moment. It's one where I think folks really are being able to kind of be inclusive, create an environment where people can learn a little bit more and have some fun at it. I think it's just one of my proud points to be able to be kind of a participant and helper with that by having Wave bring that every year.
I love that, man. It's the 20th year of International Festival. It's going to be absolutely outstanding. And I saw some of the Wave team out there hanging flyers in the hallway just today as I was walking over here to do the podcast. MacGyver, I know you got a good one, man. Let's talk a little global perspective.
I know. I'm going real literal here, everybody, with global perspective. I am celebrating our recent trip that some of our seniors took with Maestra Grimaldi to Costa Rica. And so some of our students who have completed Spanish 4 took a trip to Costa Rica over February break. And the trip itself is incredible. It was about language immersion. I know I talked to a senior who said my Spanish got better, but it is so much a celebration of the journey up to this step of where we are right now. I think it's been a long time dream, but I think too, even, my kiddos at the K-8 who are doing Spanish as part of their specialty rotation, just that commitment to language and joyful language, right? When I think about Abby Grimaldi's instruction and how much the students have loved it. So it's just, yes, it's this trip, it's this experience these students had, but it's also just the entire path up to having this happen.
Yeah, I love that. I love the way you celebrated that like, it's not just about going to Costa Rica, which was phenomenal for the kids. I mean, 10 days, right? That was a big, long trip. But it is a celebration of these kids many of these kids who've been at Westlake Charter School since kindergarten, have been studying Spanish their whole life. And then to go immerse themselves in a Spanish-speaking culture for a full 10 days, I think. They came home exhausted, for sure. But they had a great time. Ms. Gallenbohr, you want to rock a little global perspective?
Yeah, you touched on it a little bit earlier, but I was going to talk about the second grade doing the difference makers unit. Our second graders are learning about individuals from around the globe that have made an impact and made a difference on our world. And then these second graders in kind of wax museum style, like rehearse as if they themselves are that person and kind of give the story of how they made a difference and how it ties in with one of our core values. And you like walk by and you press a button and then they just start speaking and performing in that difference maker unit. The other one I was going to share is kind of a continuation of what has already been done with the Butterfly Project in sixth grade humanities this year. Which is really touching on the history lesson of the Holocaust in conjunction with the book that they were reading, The Refugee. And each of the butterflies that were made and created and individually done by the students were then fired in our kiln here on campus. Yeah. And each of those butterflies represents one of the 1.5 million children who perished during the Holocaust. And so it's just beautiful representation and learning that our students have done that it's kind of coming into like art form here on campus. And it's going to be displayed and that's being built by one of our elective teachers, Mr. Hatch, in a community building elective. So kind of full circle moment to have them fired in the kiln and have the kids see their creation and how it ties back to history in their reading.
Yeah, it's a fascinating project. So happy Ms. King brought that to us. I mean, she's phenomenal. The project, is a national, maybe even an international project where, hey, we may have fired 112 butterflies in our kiln and are placing them in our mosaic, and those represent 112 of the 1.5 million tragic lives that are lost. But there are other schools around the country, around the world, that also are doing butterflies. And so while we're not going to put 1 million butterflies on our wall, but we know that we are a part of a larger group, a larger global connected group who are talking about the same thing. Yeah, I love that project so much. What I'd like to shout out is our staff have recently, we were all very cognizant that we are educators here in this zip code, which is ranked in the New York Times as one of the top 3 most ethnically diverse zip codes in the nation. So this area that we teach in is diverse racially, ethnically, linguistically, culturally, socioeconomically. We respect the neurodiversity of our students. Like, we are all in, but we're all imperfect beings who are just learning on the journey of learning. And we recently had a fantastic professional development engagement. And one of the things we talked about was the cultural assets, the global perspective that is brought to our classroom. These are assets to our children. They are value add assets. And I know that we all think about school as sit in straight rows and face forward and listen to the teacher talk. And that's not how we rock here at Westlake. But like sometimes we look at the behaviors that as not fitting in school. And we are trying to unpack that, debug that, and say that's not real. What's real is you bring your global perspective and your culture to this classroom, and we embrace the value add. And so some of the things we've really started to unpack is like, hey, look at eye contact and how that manifests in one culture versus another culture. And in one culture, it means respect. In another culture, it means disrespect. I'm calling you out, right? We look at the eye roll, the hand gesture, the proximity with which that we speak to one another. In some cultures, we get close to each other. In some cultures, we stand far from each other. And as we start to like slow down and recognize that whatever assets you bring, they have cultural value, that global perspective, that we're not all from the same place and understand interaction and communication the same way, that is a very powerful asset to our classroom teacher, to our administrators, to our hallway personnel, because the more we can recognize the beautiful assets that are brought from this whole global community that we serve, the better off we can serve said community. So I don't know, man. I think Westlake Charter School is always appreciated our place in the global world. But I like the turn we're making on this right now, really doubling down on like what does it mean to serve in a diverse community. So that's my little pitch on global perspective. Let's do what we do and take it out to the streets and see who is celebrating 20 years of joyful learning. All right, we are here with an amazing Westlake Charter Explorer. Once an explorer, always an explorer. Explorer for life. Nancy Kong Vasquez. Thanks for being here, man. Hey, Nancy, tell us like a little bit of your background with Westlake. Why am I dragging you in here for a million reasons? Why do you think I'm dragging you in here? What's your Westlake story?
I don't think that anyone in this community could love Westlake more. So I've been part of Westlake since my daughter, Sarah, joined in like 2009, 2010 as a fourth grader. I remember being part of, being able to go to Sutter's Fort and, all the hands-on learning that was really part of Westlake. I joined as a pretty involved parent, like at other schools and PTAs. And so I took over the Olympic triathlon that first year when we were doing, fundraising and highlighting our Spanish and PE and art programs that other schools were just not doing. So, it was really a fantastic time for me to be involved. And that was by far my most favorite Westlake event of all the various Westlake events. I did it for a good 7-8 years, it feels like. And I loved every single minute of it. And just seeing the joy on kids' faces is my favorite thing.
Yeah, sorry, but you you went from being involved. Hey, I'll take on the Olympic triathlon to the Wave president. You ran Wave, from Wave president to board, Westlake Charter board member. I mean, you served here in so many capacities. From when Sarah was in fourth grade in 2009, and she is now graduated from college. True story.
She graduated from college. She's working in the Disney College program and living her best life in Orlando, Florida right now. I couldn't ask for more.
And her two younger brothers are also out there living their best life in college as well. So, I mean, Westlake played a little part in their amazing success story. They're all amazing kids. Nancy, we are here celebrating 20 years of joyful learning, right? This is our wow, we opened up in 2005. Here we are in 2025. We got kids in college, yours, mine. And we got kids graduating from our high school, our first high school graduating class this year. As we celebrate 20 years of joyful learning, Nancy, what is something that rings that bell for you where you go, oh, joyful learning, that makes me think, take me back in time. What do you remember about Westlake Charter School and joyful learning?
So I think for me, I just love the hands-on and project, the group projects and everything. It really taught my kids how to be collaborative, right? And, work with other people to get to an end goal. And, it's kind of real life. The whole project-based learning is very real life. And sometimes, you're going to have to pick up where other people might not have contributed, or you're going to learn something from someone else that you didn't think that you were going to learn. So I love the PBL aspect. It's always been the hands-on learning for me and my kids. The Sutter's Fort, when they got to spend the night at Sutter's Fort, or spending the night on the Balclutha when it's raining and it's awful, and but they persevere and they learn something about themselves that they didn't think that they could do. But for me, I think just a collaboration with the teachers. There were my daughter struggled. She struggled in school. and she had to work really hard. And I don't think that other, like the other places where she was, like recognized necessarily that. And so the teachers, especially from her middle school on, just gave her this love of learning that is so invaluable, right? People who told her that she could, and she believed it, and she did, and now she's thriving, and I love that about
Yeah, I
Westlake.
love that recognition. I love that, like, oh yeah, she had to work hard. She struggled, but people believed in her and said that she could. I love that so much.
And I think part of it too is just, one more point is that there's this recognition that not everybody learns the same, right? I remember going to you and going, John, we're like doing this Common Core math, like my kids don't learn that way. And you're like, yeah, you're right. But you know what? Not everybody learns the same. And I had to pause and think about that. And that has really been, I think, just a turning point for all my kids to be able to say, you know what? You might not get it the same way, but here, let me show you a different way of doing it. So part of, the Westlake pillars is the stewardship and, just helping other people. And I know that my kids have they've done like tutoring of their friends and just go, let's look at a different way of doing things. And I think that is something that Westlake really instilled in them, and they carry it on to this day.
Yeah, I love that. Those are good. You and I knew we would go too long, but I'm gonna go one more, Nancy.
I know. Sorry.
I knew. I was like, oh, we'll do 3 minutes. Oh my goodness, Nancy Vasquez and John Ike on one screen. This is gonna go longer than expected. But from a joyful learning perspective, you talked about project-based learning for the kids. You talked about like our field lessons. You talked about personalization, making sure we all can learn differently. But from a parent perspective, for those of us who are on campus volunteering and doing things, what's a joyful learning opportunity for parents who walk onto this campus at Westlake Charter School and serve in a way here that maybe is not available at other schools?
Yeah. So I would say that, really early on, the parent group, WAVE has always done a really good job of building a community and building a volunteer community and a parent community that wants to be involved in their children's learning. So, being a part of that and being able to build that has really been like the highlight of my community career, right? As a community leader, that's like one of my most proudest accomplishments is being able to make parents want to come and volunteer, right? Because the reality is that everywhere else is a 5% rule, and you hope that you get 5%, right? Like you hope that there's like a small group of people, that 5% that's going to come in and, help with whatever it is that you're doing, whether it's an ice cream social or a senior dinner or whatever those things are, right? But at Westlake, the thing that's really special is that parents want to get involved, right? Yeah. They want to be part of their children's success and their children's struggles and be part of the solution. And I think that you and the administration have always been able to do that, to invite voices outside of just you, right? Yeah. And it's been able to, grab that community and, being that community partner, right? To find out what's possible when in school and community collaborate, right? Like, so, it all ties together. It all ties together. And, for sure, it makes a difference. And I think Westlake does an amazing job at that. And the people who encourage it, and are open to it are the ones who are really successful.
Benefit from it. Yeah, that's good. Well, hey, Nancy Vasquez, you are once an explorer, always an explorer. You're an explorer for life. We appreciate you. Thank you for coming on and celebrating 20 years of joyful learning. I'm going to kick it back to the rest of the team on the podcast side. But thanks, Nancy. We appreciate you. Hey, can I get a let's explore?
Thanks for having me.
Yes,
let's explore.
Let's explore. I love it. Thanks, Nancy.
Thanks.
And we're back. All right. I love me some 20 years of joyful learning, and like, hey, just a peek behind the curtain at this year's International Festival. We're really going to be highlighting some of this 20 years of joyful learning work that we've been doing all year. So there'll be a little time capsule and a couple of cool pieces. So make sure you come to International Festival and help us celebrate 20 years of joyful learning and 20 years of International Festival at the same time. All right, speaking of the International Festival, it's one of our upcoming events. So let's do what we do and hit some upcoming events. First one up, March 3rd through March 7th is kindergarten through 12th grade conference week.
And March 3rd through the 8th is Missoula Children's Theater, and it's going to be Hansel and Gretel this year.
And on Monday, March 3rd at 5 p.m., we will have the K through 12 lottery. However, you need not be present to be selected.
True story.
Awesome. My daughter already has this date circled. It's Friday, March 7th, the K through 8 Spirit Day. Super bright day is the theme.
Love it. Let's go on to Thursday, March 20th at 5 p.m. is High School 101. That'll be a cool event.
Nice. And Friday, March 21st is our middle school spring dance.
And on Friday, March 21st, we'll be boogieing over here at the high school with our high school spring dance.
I love it. Wave Coffee Talk at the K8 cafeteria is on Thursday, March 27th.
And on Saturday, April 5th through Friday, April 11th is the Spring Book Fair.
And last but not least for this month is Saturday, April 5th from 2 to 5 p.m., our 20th annual International Festival.
I love it. I love it. Is there one of these that you're most looking forward to? I know we're all going to see International Festival, so I'm going to take that one off the map. You can't say International Festival. Other than the International Festival, which one of these are you most looking forward to, Gallimore?
I'm looking forward to the Missoula Children's Theater.
I was looking at that.
I mean, it is incredible. After like just 1 week of rehearsal, these kids put on a full production with this organization. It's so cool.
So cool. McIver, you got one out there that you love? Something
I love conference week. I love conference week here at the high school. I love getting over to the K8 to talk to my kids' teachers about what's going on with them. So I just love conference week.
I love it. You know, we took some good ones. Felix, I'll let you have International Festival if you want it. You got one of these?
I had a different one, but you could take International.
Okay, I'll take it. What do you got?
I was going to say, I'm excited for the middle school dance. I'm not DJing it. I'll be in New York during that weekend. However, I saw so many kids this week with their Tyler, the Creator, green and white merch for the concert that I pray pity on the DJ who's going to be asked a million times for Tyler, the Creator song. That or APT, one of the two.
I love it. Well, then I'll take International Festival because it's on the table. It's always just a fantastic event. All right, well, let's do what we do. Let's end the show with the way we end the show, which is ways to get involved with Wave. We got our Wave president, Felix Flores. What's some ways to get involved with Wave right now, Felix?
Yeah, the first and foremost, just the kind of good segue there, International Festival is on everybody's mind, April 5th. Please make sure you're there, ready to get involved. We are inviting folks to get involved with the cultural booths this year, either hosting them or participating. We've been trying to make it clear that even if you're not sure what you want to do, but you want to be a part of those booths, we've got a place for you. So consider this a highly inclusive opportunity. We're also trying to work out some perks for the folks who are running the booths so they can get access to food and things differently so they can make their rounds as well. And then next step is that we're going to be looking for volunteers to help out with all the different other events and beyond the booths themselves. And so all of that is actually already on the website at westlakewave.com. We'll have the links up in the weeklies. Like, people get a chance to get involved with us ASAP, but if they're waiting for information, cool. Second thing I put out there is we have Wave elections coming up on April 20th. And so the week of March 10th, we should have position descriptions available in the weekly as well as on the websites to people who are interested in joining the Wave board. I feel like we got a good thing going this year. We want to keep it going in the future. We have some new positions that are available. And again, this is a chance for people who want to get involved. I'm highly requesting folks who maybe, you've taken some time off and you miss kind of being back with the team. This is a chance to do that. If you have some expertise in some area that you want to be able to flex, you haven't been able to do it as much at your current job or current state, bring it on over. But we're looking to get folks involved. And then the next thing for us is staff. Appreciation Week, which is May 5th. So we are starting to get ready to plan for that and put it together. So those 3 things are good ways to get involved. Everything's available at westlakewave.com or check out the weekly. I was also thinking we should start putting little Easter eggs in these video podcasts.
I agree.
Like, hey, if you make it to the end, like we've got a little...
For both of you who made it this far, let's throw an Easter egg right now. We're 20 minutes in. If you're still listening to the show, Felix is going to tell you what you're going to get.
Yeah, I was going to say you can either choose between Dr. Ike serenading you with his guitar.
100%.
There's one thing there. Or 2, maybe we can do like a special, shout out at International Festival or something.
Okay. So what do they got to do? They have to email admin@westlakecharter.com, subject line podcast, and just give us your name, and we'll reach out to you. If you listen to the podcast and you send an email, you either get a serenade. I got my guitar right here, people. There we go. Or you could actually get something good. We'll send you.
We'll get them something good. We
got something good at International Festival.
I will volunteer to dress in a crazy outfit and do a skit.
I love it. All right. Hey, email admin@westlakecharter.com. Subject line podcast, give us your name. We'll reach out to you. We'll either serenade, we'll dress up silly, or we'll get you something cool at International. We'll get you some food or something at International Festival. We'll hook you up. All right. Thanks for listening to the show. Thanks for being a part of Westlake Charter School. Thanks for being involved with WAVE. Thanks for everything you do, families. We appreciate you. Thanks for listening. And as always, let's